Feel good, man. All right, here we go. Good evening and welcome to the September 18, 2024 regular board meeting of the Gates County Board of Commissioners. I am Dr. Anthony Riddick, the 2024 chair of the board. Tonight I'm joined by Commissioner Jonathan Craddock, vice chair, Commissioner Linda Hoffler, Commissioner Brian Roundtree, Commissioner Emily Truman, County Manager Scott Sauer. Mr. Sauer will also serve as the acting clerk to the board, and County Attorney Pitt Godwin. At this time, I'll ask Commissioner Brian Roundtree to lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Let us all stand.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you, Lord, once again allowing us to gather and meet on behalf of our constituents. Lord, we ask that you give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and direction as we conduct this business. Lord, thank you for blessing Gates County, blessing our different departments, our infrastructure, everything that we have in place, Lord, to better serve our citizens. We thank you for success. Lord, we thank you for a good report, and we bless your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, we have an adjustment or amendment to the agenda under number 8, reports and presentations. Dr. Anthony McClellan of Elizabeth City State University will not be with us tonight, and we will have a report from Mr. Arnold Bright, our Gates County broadband field checker representative. So make that note. And I ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we approve the amended, the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. You see the consent agenda in your packet. You've had that. You've had a chance to read over it. Approval of minutes, August 21st, 2024 special meeting. Approval of minutes, August 21st, 2024 regular meeting. Approval of minutes, September the 10th, 2024 special meeting. Approval of tax refund request. Action requested, a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next, we are privileged to invite Eagle Scout Project Michael Parks, Troop 30, and Mr. Sauer will introduce Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and if Michael could bring his representatives from, I believe this is from the Suffolk Ruritan Club that sponsors Troop 30.
Troop 30. This is my plans and everything in here. So, we'll go over that. My name is Michael. We're from Troop 30, and I have an Eagle Scout project that I want to do. And this is for the library. I want to build 2 benches. They're going to be 4 feet by 36 inches. And my reasoning for building them would be for the residents of the patrons and people of Gates County if they want to go to the library and sit outside if it's nice outside. Mm-hmm. And I do have a picture up on the slide. Show. Keep going one more. That's the picture I have. That's in the back of there. Mm-hmm. Do y'all have any questions, any concerns about this?
As you can see, Commissioners, there's a screen for the public an intent to, we're looking down. We have a screen that's sitting down on the floor, so we're looking at what you're looking at on the wall. So we're not ignoring you, we're watching the screen, so
I
we can
know.
see.
I know.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
Mr. Sauer?
I was going to say, when Michael first approached the county, he had already been to the library to see the director, Ms. Pat Fomilar, and when we had a chance to meet at the site and look at the actual locations that he's proposing under the awning, Ms. Pat told me this was one of her dreams, to have library benches installed, and somehow he's bringing this forth for us. And,
Only took 11 years, but if you go out between this building and the building next door, his uncle did his Eagle project and built those 2 benches out there. So
Did you
if
do
ever
the-
sat at the Christmas parade.
Did you do the drawings?
yes, I did do the
Well,
drawing.
you're a very talented artist, too. I mean, get it.
I think it's an outstanding thing that you're doing across America. There are benches, conversation benches, where the community come together and discuss, different aspects, socialize, and by you providing the bench at the library, many constituents can take advantage of that. And it's a great idea, it's a great thing. I compliment you on that, sir.
Thank you.
And if it be appropriate, I'd like to suggest that the board entertain an approval to have this on record, that the board has voted to support and sponsor his project, and I'm sure he will report back when he has it completed.
Yes, I will report back when I have them set out there.
Okay. Do you 2 gentlemen have something you'd like to add to this presentation, just to welcome you?
My name is Jared Brown. I'm the Scoutmaster of Troop 30. So it's been a privilege to watch him get to this point. And Troop 30, our resources are behind him to help him complete it.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir?
My name is Mark Clements. I'm the committee chair for Troop 30, and we have Michael and his brother in our troop. They're both from Gates County, and we meet at the Bethlehem Rowing Club in Suffolk, and so they joined our troop, and it's been a pleasure to have them. And when he talked about doing this project, we were 100% told him we'd help him and support him, so we're excited also.
Thank you. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the Eagle Scout project by Michael Parks, Troop 30.
Madam Chair, so moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we approve the Eagle Scout project by Michael Parks of Troop 30. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing your project.
Thank you. I would like y'all to email me an approval letter.
We can do that.
You can do
So it can
that.
go in front of, when it goes in front of council, they know y'all approve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Sauer, are there any public comments from tonight's attendees?
We have one citizen signed up, Mr. David Forsyth.
Mr. Forsythe, come to the podium.
Good evening. I'm David Forsythe. I'm from 37 Desert Road in Core Peak. I came prepared to talk about stuff. It looks like this summary does a pretty good job of hitting some of the things I was going to highlight and concerning the fluoride levels in the water. I guess a couple things I'd like to highlight and concerns that remain after reading this quickly right here before the meeting. These levels have been high in your consumer confidence reports for the last 12 years. The MCL, the federal level 4, hasn't changed in the last few years. The state level 2 hasn't changed. But apparently between June and right now, something's happened. It doesn't outline it in here, but it's a little bit concerning. I'm glad to hear something's going on. It's actually very encouraging. I thought I was going to come here and say, hey, why don't you go after one of the grants, the CDBGI or some kind of SRF loan or something to address this. It sounds like you did a smart thing looking at the well results by shutting that first well down immediately. It would have been smarter, but sometime between June and now, at least now it's shut down and you're testing. One of the things I'd like to offer, I know you have engineers on staff and all, but that one well, alone seemed to account for us being at 2.7 milligrams per liter above the 2.0. In your literature you provide here, it says that, above, 1.5 milligrams per liter could potentially hurt kids' teeth. And, at 4.0, the EPA, federal EPA, says that that's when you could start having things with cognitive difficulty, skeletal damage, organ problems. And it's saying right here, above 1.5, it's a problem. We're at 2.7. That's like halfway between, we know it's potentially starting to get bad, to it's really, really bad. So it's not that we're just at 2, where dental problems. And the letter that's sent out is talking about putting people on drinking water. That's implying, it's just dental. We're 30% past where it's just dental. And in some ways that's good in my mind. If it really is one well that's the primary source of this, or if you put in new wells and you test them, potentially a treatment process addressing just that one well could help. You don't really have to treat all of our water, maybe a third of it. Or you only got to get 30% reduction or so to get us down below the 2-point level, or something a little bit more. There's a lot of literature out there. I know you summarized some of it in here, whoever wrote the report. And it's conflicting data about exactly when damage occurs, but it's clear that there is harm potential above 2. I knew that before coming in here. Your own paperwork here says above 1.5. So we're double what it says is the level. And I guess I would encourage y'all that you note in here that, we're going to do water plant upgrades in the next 5 years, but you don't say what that is. If it's not addressing the fluoride problem and we're not doing it for 5 years, that's not really soon enough. But I'm just asking y'all to consider that. I know it's election year, I'm not looking to make any points here, but there's a lot of people out here, and sending something out and telling people they need to drink bottled water. A lot of poor people out here living paycheck to paycheck, they can't afford to go out and buy bottled water. So it almost begs the question of what's the county going to do about providing bottled water to some of the school kids? And we're all tied together. I spoke at the school board this week. We had bad test scores in our elementary schools. Cognitive impacts or potential here from this. For 12 years we've been having this. And I'm just wondering, between the school board and y'all, shouldn't y'all be holding hands together and asking some of our elected officials who are sitting here tonight to help lobby for getting some type of immediate treatment to our water system versus having people go out and buy a $300 to $500 reverse osmosis or carbon pack or some other type of system to put under their sink? Shouldn't the county be addressing that? It may be impacting our schools. It may be impacting the health of everybody. It'll impact the wallet of a lot of people for water. So I'm asking you respectfully to consider doing more than just shutting off a well, doing a few tests, and waiting for an improvement on the plant in 5 years. Anyway, with that, I thank you for allowing me to speak.
That was the only public comment we have? Okay. Item 7, public hearings. Is there a motion on the floor to open the public hearing for item A, FY26 Gates County Community Transportation Program Application Administrative?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing for item A, fiscal year 26 Gates County Community Transportation Program Application Administrator, and Ms. Patrice Lassiter, Director of GITS. Our transportation system is at the podium.
Good evening. This is our annual grant application for our admin and for our capital. This year we're requesting $96,868 for administrative and $155,470 for capital. For the administrative funds, we will use it for salary and benefits, vehicle insurance, and office expenses. For the combined capital, we will use it to replace one of our vehicles, which is a 20-foot LTV, and we're requesting to get a new scheduling software system, which will cost about $25,000.
Is that the first one? Okay.
That's the first one.
Just direct where you are. Do we have any comments from the public about this proposal, this application that Ms. Patrice Lassiter is proposing for the transportation system administrative costs? Hearing none, is there a discussion by the commissioners? It's in your packet, okay? Upon receiving no further comments, is there a motion on the floor to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
This public hearing is now therefore closed. Action requested. A motion from the board, consideration to approve or not approve the fiscal year 26 Gates County Community Transportation Program application administrated.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve this application for the GITS van. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, it's been approved. Now, is there a motion on the floor to open the public hearing for item B, the GITS Capital and Elderly and Disabled Enhanced Transportation Services?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we open the public hearing for the GITS Capital and Elderly and Disabled Enhanced Transportation Services. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Okay, so
Ms. Lassiter?
the enhanced transportation grant is for people 65 or older or people with disabilities. It is 5310 operating funds, which we use these funds to make our road grants go further and to enhance our services for our elderly. For this, sometimes we change the times of our trips. We will extend help to these seniors or to people with disabilities. And it's a 50-50 match. 30,000 would be federal and 30,000 would be state funds that we have for our EDTAP, Elderly and Disabled Transportation Assistance Plan.
Hearing the report from Ms. Lassiter, are there any comments from the public? Hearing none. Is there discussion by the commissioners? Upon receiving no further comments, is there a motion on the floor to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
This public hearing is now closed. Action requested. A motion from the board. Consideration to approve or not approve the GITS application for capital and elderly and disabled enhanced transportation services.
Madam Chair, so moved.
I'll second the motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the GITS application for capital and elderly and disabled enhanced transportation services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Lassiter.
Thank you.
Is there a motion on the floor to open the public hearing for consideration of proposed text amendments to amend Title 15, Land Uses, Section 152.051, Subdivision, Street Names, and Address Number? Ms.
So moved.
So moved?
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Commissioner Truman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Lisa Cherry is now at the podium.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Tonight, we have public hearing for the proposed recommendation of the text amendment to the Title 15, Section 152.051, Subdivision, Street Names, and Address Numbers. This amendment includes the following references for the process of assigning the following designations. Sections: A, subdivision names, street names, address numbers, and enforcement. The sections of the administration we have for the application of such is the address program administrator, what they will be responsible for, the addressing maps, how they will be kept in the county, all roads that are officially designated on the addressing map, what we will have and how we will keep those, a set of numbers and consisting of the 1 and 2 and 3, how we keep and digitize those and assign those in the county. The display of those numbers, the address number limits, obtaining an address number, how you would do those in the application which we have, and the numbers for future buildings, and finally, D, the enforcement of how we assign those and how we do that in the county. And that was recommended by the planning board at our July meeting. And at this time, we are asking for approval and denial of that.
Do we have any comments from the public? Hearing none. Discussion by the commissioners.
It was recommended by the planning board.
So what now?
Right.
Look at the mic.
This came from the planning board. Yeah, so we do support them and their thoughts, and I'll make a motion to approve. We gotta close it first.
I gotta close it first.
Oh,
Gotta hit 'em.
Let's close.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to close.
I'll second the motion.
Properly motion and second that we close this public hearing. All in favor? Aye. This public hearing is now closed. Action requested, a motion from the board to approve. A concurrent motion to either approve or deny both text amendment with the plan consistency statement below is acceptable. As recommended by the planning board at the July planning board meeting, consistency statement and amendment. A motion to approve text amendment to Title 15, Land Uses Section 152.051, subdivision, street names and address numbers, and plan consistency statement in accordance with GS 160D-605. The proposed text amendment is reasonable and consistent with the 2017 Gates County Comprehensive Plan. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second, it's been properly motioned and second that we approve the text amendment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. Now we'll move into reports and presentations. First, I would like to say that Dr. Anthony McClellan from Elizabeth City State University could not make the meeting tonight, so we've moved Mr. Arnold Bright up from the bottom to the top. He's the Gates County Broadband Field Check Representative for Gates County, and he has some important updates.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, board members. I haven't been up here in front of you for a while now, so I have a couple of updates on our broadband. We are now, I'm saying 96% to 98% thereabouts covered with broadband in the county. We are very blessed to have that happen. We still have had some issues in the past, and one of those I'll talk about now. You remember I'm well known in Raleigh in some areas about low-hanging fiber cables. Well, we finally got part of that taken care of last week. I had the help of Jeff Brooks from the Department of Information Technology. He gave me a new phone number and email. My email, I won't go to how it was written, but it struck a nerve, and I had 2 phone calls real fast about what it was about, why hadn't this been done. I have since heard from the regional construction manager for Spectrum Charter, or Charter Spectrum, about that, and he questioned me why it didn't get done. I said, that's kind of your problem, not mine. And that afternoon, I had a phone call from another construction foreman from New Bern that's in charge of this area, and he assured me that they were going to get on it. Thursday morning, I had a phone call from the construction group in Suffolk, which didn't have anything to do with this, but now he's inherited the problem. They have a time frame to correct this, depending on if they can get permits to bore the road. They didn't have anything showing that they had fiber conduit in the ground where they could place it in. It was he said, she said, whatever for the last 2 years. Now Dominion Power has finally adopted, I'm thinking what he told me is 20 foot 6 inches as a minimum, which we talked about that with the North Carolina Farm Bureau Federation, and that's been one of the lower across and right-of-ways, and that also will go across private property as well. So anything that they can't get on a joint use pole for 20 feet, they're going to have to plow it now. And Dominion is not too hepped up on changing out poles, even though the money's there to do it, but that might fall into the plan as well. But the 5 locations that we were talking about in Gates County, they hope to have at least 3 of them done before cotton's picked. They didn't like the pictures of the combine caught in their cable, and they didn't like the fact that I had pictures of our farmers mowing down cotton that they couldn't pick because of fiber optic. So we might see some work on that as well real fast here in the county. The engineers have been here, and I'm supposed to meet with an engineer again on Friday to look at some of this stuff. As far as one of them made a statement about how much fiber it was going to take to do it. I said, well, there's 16 rolls of fiber left on the side of the road right now that nobody hasn't used. Pick them up and use them. So, we'll see what happens about that. So they will be working on that. You'll see some. The next part with Bede is coming up. In the past, we talked about the cab and some other issues that we had funding for that the county was going to match, but I say we, Scott and myself, sat down and verified addresses. In the beginning, they had 113, I think it was, something thereabouts. We narrowed them down to 35, and then when we narrowed them out again to 32, and now it's only 15. They did not accept the county's recommendation for Cotton Gin Road and Lawrence Lane, and there were no bidders for that. So nothing happened on that. That kind of has fallen by the wayside, so that will come up again. If we can get help from Department of Information Technology, which I think we'll be able to do, to fund that. It's interesting the way I've had to go out and verify these is by addresses. Well, one of the addresses doesn't exist. Information Technology says it was 362 Savage Road. 362 Savage Road is a cow feeding station. If you ride down there, it's an old fallen down place where the owner that farm used to feed his cattle. Well, that's now addressed in the state's database as 362 Savage Road. We had a truck fire with the fire department, and the address came through 911 is 362 Savage Road. That doesn't show up on any maps. Well, I told them, I said, it's the cow feeding station on Savage Road, because I've had to go there and verify that. Somehow or another, the information transfers to 911. So these addresses we have are not correct, that AI has established an address. This next round, the maps we have, it gets even funner to look at. Now, logging platforms, logging decks in the woods when the satellites flew over have now been addressed. They saw a pile of logs, AI thinks it was a structure of some sort, and they've given it an address and they want fiber put to it. I don't know too many guys working on the logwoods that needs fiber right there, but there's some more issues we will address with information technology. So we are working diligently to close these gaps, and hopefully within the time frame for the money that's been allocated, everybody in Gates County will have access to fiber. Mm-hmm. And the next part of that comes to county people, our residents. Mm-hmm. If you know somebody that's elderly that's not well versed on smartphones or even a computer that says they don't need it, telemedicine is a big thing now. A lot of meetings are held on Skype or member meeting with Microsoft. We now have to start educating our county residents of why we need fiber to our house, or why we need fiber to a cell site, or why we need 5G service. Because in 5 years, if you're not doing this, you're going to be left behind. Mm-hmm. And we need to help do that. I know there's Roanoke Connect or FIBE, whoever you want to call them now. They're offering some programs to teaching. I think the library has had classes on how to use computers and phones. So we need to do our part and step up as county and help get our people educated on how to use this since it's coming. If you have any questions that I can...
I don't have a question. I just want to thank Erna. I call him Erna. He volunteered almost 2 years ago to be our field checker, and he's done a yeoman's job. We've been working on these pole heights for about 2 years now.
2 years.
We've been working with the North Carolina Farm Bureau Federation Association,
right,
and others in Raleigh. Our legislators are here. They have been briefed on that before. So we pressed forward to get Gates County solved. And I thank Erna when he called me and said, informed me that Spectrum was going to do their due diligence that others have,
yes.
5. And so Gates County is going to move forward, waiting for a 2-year study at the General Assembly. But the farmers can't wait 2 years.
Right.
So we pressed it. The farmers going to get their resolution as far as raising those pole heights so they can get into the fields and harvest their crop. Erna is also going to stay on with other initiatives. He mentioned digital literacy. All the counties have to have a digital literacy program. And Gates County is in 2 different ones. Albemarle Commission is writing one, and so is Roanoke Foundation. I did have a conversation with Roanoke Foundation last week, so we will have funding, hopefully, if the grants are approved, to teach our citizens how to use those devices, all the devices that they have, especially with everything going digital. I mean, telehealth, applications, you name it, everything's going digital. So we must make sure that our citizens know how to use those devices so that they can participate in growth in this county. So I thank Erna for that. We will continue to log in on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday there's a broadband meeting. And when I can't log in, Erna logs in. If neither one of us can log in, then we call Raleigh and talk to the Department of Information Technology and try to make sure that Gates County will keep our 96, 97% rate of access in this county, which is phenomenal for a county this size. And we're going for 100%. Now, we'll say this in closing. We do not choose your provider. We do not control the cell towers, and I know we have cell tower issues. They're dropping calls all over, not only Gates County, but other counties. So we will get access to you, so you can have access to broadband, but that's as far as we can go. You can continue to call Erna if you have issues with access, or you want to know if you have access. He has the maps, and he can let you know within sometimes minutes. When I call him, he calls right back and say they have access or they don't have access. They can log in or whatever. So I thank you, Mr. Bright.
And we are still working hand in hand with the Rule Center, NC Rule Center too. So that's been one of our biggest helps.
It is. They've been very helpful in Raleigh. We have no complaints about the North Carolina Rule Center or the Department of Information Technology. They have really been responsive as best they can. And let me say this in closing. We have not paid one dime for all this access that you're getting. So if you're thinking we're spending money, no, we're not. It's left over from a great grant that was years ago that they did not complete. And going forward, we set aside money from ARPA if we did have to make a match. So far, we have not had to make a match for all of this work you've seen in this county. We still have 96 to 97% coverage, and I think that's phenomenal that the board made those decisions 2 or 3 years ago, because that ARPA money has to be spent by December 2026. It must be spent.
Right.
It had to be obligated by December 2024. We obligated it over 18 months ago. So we're moving in the right direction as far as broadband. And I thank this commissioner, the board, for buying into that and having the foresight and the vision.
Just right around and look, we've got every county in the state beat.
Yeah, we got all of them beat.
We do.
I see the legislators sitting back there, Mr. Bill Ward and Mr. Hannock. We're ahead of everybody.
We got them all. Thank you.
Erna, for the people who are on this last mile that have not been hooked up, what, should they contact you?
Yes, if there's a few places that we have identified that are the last mile, so to speak. We have identified some locations that are more than 1,500 foot off the road or from a pole or a pedestal to serve it. And some of that money will be, as they're identified, to help pay for that long drop. I've heard two folks that called me and they wanted like $8,000 to put a fiber optic down a lane 1,600 feet, which, you know, there's going to be some funding to help with that. And in this last mile, there are very few left even in the last mile in our county. And I hope Scott and myself went through the maps and then we go through and then I ride out and look at them again, that we'll have everybody that wants it, it will be available there with one of our 3 providers. Some locations will have 3, some will have 2, some will have 1. So like Dr. Riddick said, we're not pushing anybody.
No, we're not.
See what kind of prices they have and what it fits your budget and check them out.
Okay.
So the additional funding that you were referring to from information technology that we're seeking, is that going to be geared towards the infrastructures that's not complete? Is that correct?
I think
It's correct. It's
Yeah.
correct. Unserved or underserved.
Yes, unserved. We started with unserved, then we went to underserved, and then we're hitting on the last mile where everybody says it's too far out. And I was looking at helping somebody in Hyde County over the weekend, and they've got a lot of last miles over there, and they're in Terrell. So we've got them beat. And thank you for backing me too when I go to Raleigh and places.
It was 2 years ago. Do you remember the total project cost for Gates County? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I was trying to remember the other day. I won't say it was either 26 or 27 million.
28 million.
27 or 28 million dollars to put broadband through Gates County.
Right. And its cost per household, we were talking about the other day, was like some of them are $7,000
$7,000.
per house or per mile, depending on. So it's not cheap.
No.
Erna does the field work, and my role is the legislation, the funding, and make sure that Gates County is getting the best bang for its buck.
Right.
So that's why we partner together. He does the technical, he understands the technical. I try to understand the funding and what's coming, and making sure that if it's free money out there, which is grant money, that we're in line to get it. And that so far we've been very successful. And so far we have not paid any match fund for all of this broadband that you've seen in this county. So I thank you, Erna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep up.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Next, we have North Carolina Rural Water Wellhead Protection Plan Certification, Ms. Katie Dunning.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Tonight I have with me Ms. Katie Dunnan. She is the Source Water Protection Specialist with North Carolina Rural Water, and she is here to present the county the award of a wellhead protection plan. So,
Okay.
turn it over to you.
Good evening, members of the board and residents of Gates County. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. I'm with North Carolina Rural Water Association, and just so you know a little bit about what we do in case you haven't heard of us before. We're a nonprofit, and our mission statement is to provide our water and wastewater membership with the highest quality support services possible. We advance our mission by serving our water and wastewater system members in North Carolina through training, on-site technical, managerial, and financial assistance, member services, networking opportunities, and legislative and regulatory advocacy. And tonight I'm here to honor Gates County for their hard work and dedication in the completion of their wellhead protection plan. This plan helps assess risks within the water system, promote education about the water system, and provide points towards grants and loans for funding for the water system. These plans are updated every 5 years to provide the best possible accuracy, and we are pleased that you have allowed us to serve as your assistant through this process. On behalf of the North Carolina Rural Water Association, I am here tonight to present Gates County with an award of completion for their wellhead protection plan. Who will receive this award?
Man, right there.
All right.
We're going to get a picture of that.
Get a picture over there.
Turn that way.
Let's turn it all the way.
No.
Thank you very much. And yes, I call him Mr. Brad, deserves to hold that thing very close to his heart. He and his staff have worked tirelessly in this county, rehabilitating our water system and working day and night, literally, to receive that, not only that award, but everything else that's going on, infrastructure under the ground that people don't see until something breaks, then everybody knows about it. So Brad, yes, we wanted you to receive that award. That's the least we can do, to thank you for all, you and your staff, for all the work you have done and continue to do and will do. It's expected now. You set the standard, so now you can't slack off now. But thank you from this Board of Commissioners for all of your work and staff since you've been here, what, 2 years, I think? 2 years. You've done a good job, so let's give him a hand. And thank you for coming, Ms. Dunn. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Item C, Gates County Water Quality Update. Tonight, we are privileged to have our legislative delegation from the North Carolina General Assembly, the Honorable Representative Bill Ward and the Honorable Senator Bobby Hanna, both of whom have worked very hard to secure a $10 million appropriation for Gates County water and wastewater infrastructure. And in recent weeks, Senator Hannick has brought important information to the county's attention regarding new reporting on elevated fluoride concentrations in our groundwater, which is naturally occurring. He has also coordinated meetings with the county manager and legislative staff, which has also brought the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services to the discussion, as led by our own local health department, Albemarle Regional Health Services, who are represented here this evening by Ms. Sandra Farabee, Amy Underhill, and Ralph Hollowell. Senator Hannick.
Thank you, Dr. Riddick. It's great to be here in Gates County. As soon as I was made aware of this situation and really the lack of action from DEQ, it really got under my skin. And the first thing I did was call county manager and say, we got a problem here and we need to get it addressed. In 2023, the General Assembly approved a study to see where we were in the state and what processes we could use to mitigate this issue and to get it under control. Obviously, we were very surprised, or I was very surprised by the levels in Gates County, and having discussions with Senate staff, Jenny Kelvington in particular, who is the absolute guru of water and infrastructure or anything to do with it. She reached out to the county as well, and I think we're in a good path forward in trying to find some type of funding, be it grants or direct funding, whatever we have to do. And really, I'm just here to let you know that the state will be walking hand in hand with y'all through this whole process. We have to get this situation under control. We have to get it under control quickly. So whatever resources you need, I'm here to tell y'all we will find the resources and we will get this situation taken care of as quickly as possible. And I appreciate Dr. Riddick and her quick action as well to get us on the agenda, to get this out in the public. Letting the public know where we are and what's happening is always reassuring. If they don't know, it creates a lot of anxiety. So I appreciate y'all being very open about it. To let folks know where we are, and I'm looking forward to really accelerating this process to get y'all to where you need to be. So again, we'll be hand in hand, walking down the aisle together to get this taken care of. So that's what I'm here to reassure you and reassure the folks of Gates County. So thank you for the time. And I'll answer any questions if y'all have any. I'll try my best. No questions? Fantastic.
We're going to put the county manager and the public utility director on the spot as far as walking us through what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen in this county. So, but we thank you for the phone call and all of your due diligence. Mr. Ward, thank you and your wife for coming tonight. Whenever we ring the bell, they show up, and that's a good thing.
Yep.
We're very appreciative of all your collaboration and communication with Gates County in the last couple of years that we've needed you. You've been there, and we thank you, and we're going to need you.
Oh, I know.
So,
I know, and I'm looking forward to helping you. I love helping the folks that need the most help, so
all right.
That's what we're here for. So thank you.
Mr. Ward, do you have something to say before the county manager starts his presentation? Come to the podium. I don't want you to come all the way here and not hear from you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Hannick and I have been working hand in hand for quite a while now. In fact, he took me under his wing when I first went into the legislature and has been a mentor to me as we move forward. I think we make a pretty good team. My office and his office has worked together, collaborated on several issues already. We'll continue to collaborate, and we hopefully will get this situation rectified with the fluoride in the water. We are looking at some other areas to get this corrected other than reverse osmosis, which will actually remove the total amount of fluoride from there, but a small amount is recognized for being good for children's dental health. So there are other areas that we're looking at. We will be collaborating together to talk about those and see if we can't come up with a solution that will be less expensive for the state and the county and will accomplish what we're looking for. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Sauer.
Well, I just want to say both those gentlemen are kind of humble. Senator Hannig called us in less than 24 hours after the national report was released related to the new study on elevated fluoride levels. And when I reached out to Representative Ward, his greeting whenever he picks up the phone is, "Scott, how can I help you? And what can we do to help you?" So I don't think we could have two better, well-prepared folks working with us, and the fact that they're here tonight to learn about our initial steps says a lot. Our other call that went out was to Ashley Stoop, the Regional Health Director, and she helped with Ms. Jenny Kelvington, the legislative staffer, put together a conference call with the state health director and many of the division chiefs from the Department of Health and Human Services to talk about what sort of information should be shared immediately with the public, what strategies should be examined, and this is an ongoing communication effort. I'd like to ask Brad to come up and talk just a little bit about some of the immediate steps that he suggested and took action on literally a day and a half after the conference call with the state health director.
Well, one of the first initial steps was I got in contact with our Waypoint, which is our analysis contract that we use for sampling, and I collected one sample from each well and a sample of the finished water leaving the plant. Well 3 come in at a 1.1, well 2 come in at a 1 part, well 1 come in at a 3.2. So after I got the first initial samples, I contacted Mr. Sauer and contacted State Inspector DEQ, and went over a few things, and we all come together and decided to shut well 1 down, the highest concentration. I have initially sampled well 2 and well 3 in the finished water. I hadn't got the results back from that sampling session as of yet. But what I intend to do is sample weekly for 3 months and then once a month for 6 months following, just so I can get a table and a baseline on what we have. But as of right now, well 1 is off.
And we should add to that well number 1 is our lowest production well.
Yes.
We have wells that are nearly a half century old. Well number 1 only produces 250 gallons a minute. Well number 2, I think, is at 625.
625, and well 3 is at 900 gallons a minute.
So in terms of the impact on the water supply and the effect on local customers, it should be minimal at most, given that we've still got over 1,500 gallons per minute production capacity with the other 2.
Well 1's been off for a week, and it hasn't compromised our system or, at all. So.
And the good news is the efforts of our legislative delegation, Representative Ward and Senator Hannig, are that it was less than a year ago that they came forth and presented a check here for $10 million to the county. Top of the list on the board's priority projects is to install some new wells, because we know we have wells that are not performing adequately. So we've got the target on the wells, we've got the target on the replacement water tank for the one here in Gatesville that's been dry for over a decade. And it's a 150,000 gallon dry tank that will be replaced and most likely will at least double to 300,000 gallons. But we've also been successful getting support through the state for hydraulic studies, asset inventory studies for both water and wastewater. And every step of the way, we've had our consulting engineers with Green Engineering dialed into this conversation. And if the question were to be raised tonight by our members of the delegation, what could we do for Gates County this evening? I think either Mr. Green or Mr. Tart could help explain. We'd like to move immediately towards some test wells, possibly 5 of them. I I think our budget estimate is close to $100,000 per well, and then some work in terms of the analysis. But if Mr. Leo or Mr. Rodney, if you can.
I'll be glad to address that. Madam Chairman, members of the board, guests and visitors. Brad has been pretty proactive about this problem. We started talking about it about, I don't know, probably over 2 months ago. And that's before all this special information was come out by the statewide study. And from that, we had a conference call with County Manager Sauer, and I said, you know, what we really need to do is start doing a profile analysis, as Brad said, and establish a benchmark on what the water quality is, the depth of the water in the well, and start building some data. And the other thing that Scott did was he put me in contact with Senator Bergen, who is, I think, the Senator Pro Tem, who is very active in the appropriations part of it. So with the help of your local delegation of Senator Hayne and Mr. Ward, I think putting that delegation together will achieve this for us. As I expressed to Senator Bergen's office about a month ago, that we need to do a comprehensive analysis of the whole aquifer, or the two most prominent aquifers that your groundwater comes from, and that's the Upper Cape Fear aquifer and the Black Creek aquifer. And to do an in-depth study and look at the hydrology of the whole area. As you get further, as you get east of NC 37, that's kind of like the cutoff line of high quality, high yielding wells. And we were looking in our plan as we were doing the applications for funding of going further toward Highway 13. It was a concern to Brad, it was a concern to us that those three wells are real close together. They're within 1,000 feet. So if there was any kind of contamination plume that would occur in that area, it could readily damage those wells. So one of the things that Brad did then is a year ago, he reached out to North Carolina Rural Water, and is Miss Katie still here? She had a long drive to somewhere else. But I recommended that the county get active in developing a wellhead protection plan. Now, what a wellhead protection plan does, it's kind of like a zoning in a little bit, but you are much more critical about any kind of development comes within a certain radius of your wellhead, and you watch that kind of activity. So the wellhead protection plan that you've developed is going to bring some longevity and protection to each one of your wells. So that's a very proactive move that y'all did, and you approved, and you got awarded for that, recognized tonight. Plus, it gives you 5 points on your applications when you're doing funding for these competitive applications. And that 5 points was very helpful in some of the grants and loans that you just picked up. So that's part of system management. So Brad was on top of that, and Mr. Sire supported that. So we're pleased with that. So what we're recommending, and we've been talking, and I spoke to Senator Berger's office about it. Jenny, what was Jenny's last name, Scott?
Kelvington.
Sir?
Kelvington.
Kelvington, yes. And I told her, I said, we need to really do a real comprehensive study, and we need to see what the geological and the hydrological assets are in this county, because the county is about to encroach on spending another $2 million in developing wells. And let's don't start putting holes in the grounds until we got better information. And because of this fluoride issue, and for whatever strange reason, I don't know if God just made the earth like this in Gates County, but you got a high abundance of fluoride in that area. But even at 1 part per million, and Brad will tell you, is excessively high. It's still within the MCL, but it's excessively high. You can look at water systems within a 50-mile radius here, Brad, and they're having to add fluoride for, So fluoride is good within a tolerance level. It's good, and, you know, like in mothers in the first and second trimesters, having fluoride supplements is good to make strong bones. And then, of course, fluoride is good for dental decay. But excessive fluoride can cause neurological other problems. So it's like everything, you know, a little bit of salt's real good, but too much salt puts you in the hospital. So it's all with moderation. So we recommended that we go after some funding, and I told Jenny
Kelvington.
Kelvington, thank you, that help us find some funds to do a comprehensive study. And we're looking at bringing hydrologists in. We're looking at probably around $150,000 to do that study. And then we need about $600,000 to do test wells. And let's strategically put some test wells in certain areas after we talk with a hydrologist. Even well people that have been in the well business, a bad well is still good information, even though you might not be able to use it. But if you know this geographical area is not a good performing area, you don't want to spend any more money in that area. So we want to build a profile across the county of our groundwater supply, because that's your future. Water is life. You know, you might live 30 days without eating, but about 3 days without a drink of water. So we need that drink of water. So that's our plan and our recommendation, and I have a lot of confidence that your legislators that spoke this evening will do everything in their power, and it's apparent that the Senate Pro Tem, Senator Bergen, is interested in it, and I think between the three of those, I think Gates County's in good hands to find the money. And we don't want to overreact. Brad's done some management decisions and done some things right now. But we want to find water, and we want to find it further away from where those three are right now. They're just too close together. And the more we learn about groundwater and hydrology, the more we want to lengthen that space between our wells. So if there's a local contamination, it don't get all of them. One local contamination in that area could possibly damage all those. So that's where we are, and that's where we'd like to move. And we just thank you for being proactive and getting your legislative team in here and y'all addressing this the way you are. And we'll move forward, and we'll do a scientific study, and we'll make good decisions on the money we need to spend. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions from Mr. Thomas?
I have a question. Let's say we get the funding, do the geological study, have the test wells, we identify, we complete that whole process. What's the time frame of that process being complete, from the geological studies to the test wells? How soon can we know the region, how the water
I think we can get the 5 wells done within probably 12 months, and the study will probably take about 5 to 6 months to bring all that together, or maybe a little bit less. So I'd say a minimum, we're talking 1.5 years to 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Tarr.
To do it right. If we're gonna get resources, let's leverage them, and let's spend it right, and let's get good data, and do proper planning.
Yes, sir, I agree. Thank you, Mr. Tarr.
Yes, sir.
Got a question for Brad. So one well was higher in fluoride than the others. Is the depth of that well shallow compared to the others, or are they all about the same?
There's a little bit, primarily they're about the same. They're within 20 feet of each other, as far as depth goes.
Okay. Same aquifer?
Well, one's like 415, well two's 410, I think well three's like 375, 380.
And you said you've sent off for the testing. Do you have any idea how long it'll take to get those results back from this last round?
Well, the first round testing I sent them off on a Wednesday, and the following Tuesday I had.
And you said this last one off when?
This last one went off Wednesday, and I called today to get the results, but they said that they weren't quite ready yet. So
still not ready, okay.
I don't know if they had a hiccup or what's going on.
Mr. Sauer?
We are fortunate in Gates County to have the support we have, to have the resources that we have. And in the meantime, we are proceeding with the water asset inventory and hydraulic study. We're proceeding with the wastewater asset inventory study so that we can make the best decisions for the placement of some of these facilities, like the placement of the new water tower in addition to the well sites. We've got some pretty good conceptual ideas where we need to improve hydraulics by connecting dead ends like the one down by the duck through under Bennett's Creek. We know that we need a directional bore and a connection there. We know that we have dead ends down on Carter Road over Trotman Creek that will affect not only the county's ability to manage the system, but greatly improve hydraulics here within the town of Gatesville and particularly from a fire protection status. So we are working on multiple tracks, and this fella works like busier than a one-armed paper hanger, as we used to say. I mean, he is really working, and I just can't say enough about the team you have assembled here to work with us.
Since we're talking about and giving kudos to our legislators, can you speak briefly about the final paperwork that we just sent off last week with the town of Gatesville?
The SL 134 money was $10,145,000. After they adjusted for some administrative fees, it's $9,840,000. It was allocated in 2 tranches in the legislative package. Both of them had the recipient identified as Gates County. There was a line 68.1 had about $970,000, was not quote unquote earmarked or set up for a directed project. Line 68.2 was the bulk of the money, about $8.8 or $8.9 million. And in the directed project column, it's stated for water and wastewater projects for the town of Gatesville. Well, our system has been merged for over a decade. The county commissioners and the town council went through a study process in early 2013 and put together a merger package and a consolidation plan that went into effect in October of 2013. So we now operate as a consolidated utility serving the town of Gatesville, serving all of Gates County. And as we were moving through the last reviews at DEQ, they raised the question, well, a lot of these projects, they of course, have Gates County's name on them, from the wells to the water tank to the hydraulic issues. And they wanted verification that there was no question, no doubt, no concern that this money was not being used to serve all folks in Gates County, both in the town and in the county. So last week on Tuesday the 10th, we had a joint meeting with the town of Gatesville, with their entire council, their mayor, and the county commissioners. We walked through the projects that we have here. Within that $9.8 million, we have 9 projects identified. The largest one is well over $2 million. The smallest one's less than $300,000. The resolution was adopted unanimously by the town council, by the county commissioners, and all of that was forwarded the next day up to DEQ. They thanked us profusely for providing that clarification, providing that assurance, because believe it or not, there are communities in this state where sometimes the county commissioners and the city council don't get along. And there's any number of issues that pop up with respect to the use of public resources. And it's just really refreshing to see how well this governing body and the town council have worked on any number of endeavors in just the last couple of years. But having that appropriation and level of support from the General Assembly and from DEQ has made all the difference in the world for them to not just plan, but execute those plans and see projects under development. So we expect within probably this week, we will receive the funding letters for the SL 134 projects. But they've been very thorough in their review. They ask lots of questions. They hit the engineers, they hit Brad, and so far, I believe we've been able to check every single one of the marks that they laid out for us. So, again, it started with the work that you folks did. Thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Arnold? If not, thank you again. Mr. Sowers, anyone here from the Health Department?
I don't know if the Health Department wanted to make a presentation or simply be available for support and questions. They did the heavy lifting in the early process. I think they recognize that locally the county commissioners are the governing body, and they work through the region to help us. Ashley Stoop is at a state conference this week and was not able to be here, but she sent the best and finest with her, and Sandy and Ralph, and they help us in any number of ways. In fact, I think Sandy was here at last meeting to help us. So again, I think we're moving well, and I promised I wouldn't put them on the spot.
Okay. Y'all want to put them on the spot? No. We have them here sitting right in front of us. You have any questions about the health and safety of our citizens? There they are. They should know. But if not, we'll just move on. Thank y'all for coming. I see you sitting back there. Y'all stand up so we see who you are. Stand up. There they are. Thank you for your support.
Yes.
I want to thank everyone that's really led this effort, especially our county manager. When he received the notice, he called me, and we had a good conversation about what to do next. And he jumped right on it. Brad jumped right on it. Senator Hannock was on the phone. We called Mr. Ward. We called everybody we knew to help us with that. We got the subject matter experts to guide us through this, and not just attack it and spend money that we don't need to spend on things we don't need to do. We're taking our time. And that's one thing this board does. It takes its due diligence and make sure when we spending taxpayer money, and I don't care if it is a grant, it's still taxpayers' money, that we're doing the best we can with the knowledge we have, with the data that's driving it. So I thank all of you for assisting the commissioners in making decisions and approvals like we're going to be getting ready to do tonight, of other things that we need to do. So we thank y'all. I didn't want to forget that. Hearing no other questions or comments from the board, we'll move to item 9. New business. The Sheriff's Office proposed increase in certified deputy minimum salary to $45,000. County Manager.
When the board was finishing its budget, just prior to adoption of the budget ordinance back in June, I think it was 36 hours before they were set to approve the budget, set the tax rate, we learned that a couple of our neighboring counties took strategic steps in the marketplace for recruiting deputy sheriffs. I think it was Chowan County that upped the certified salary to, I believe it was $52,000. I think Northampton came close to that, maybe 40, I think, or excuse me, 50,000. I think Perquimans has also joined in that push to stretch the market, and we had our budget complete. We were a day late and a dollar short to keep up with those folks. I mean, it's a phenomenal gap. And the sheriff has been very persistent in sharing his efforts to retain his staff, to look for ways to recruit new staff, and has been over to our offices any number of times, and really wearing Warren Perry out in the Human Resources office, because as the sheriff has tried to go directly to the source, the community colleges that are training these folks to get their BLET certification, and to introduce himself and to talk about what it's like to work in Gates County and serve the folks here, and to have a starting salary for a certified deputy at $38,000 or or somewhere in that close range, when you've got our neighbors at 50,000, 52,000, it's tying not just one hand behind his back, it's two hands behind his back. And Mr. Perry has been really encouraging me to think of ways to see if we can't help the sheriff find a way to bridge that gap to at least get us to a salary that starts with a 4 and not a 3. Because if the others are saying we start with a 5 and you can hold up a 3, I mean, you've lost the battle already. So I challenged our finance folks and payroll folks to really dig to see, one, what money we might be able to dig out within the existing appropriation, and see what we could do to potentially bridge the gap. And I quite frankly thought we'd end up in the neighborhood of 42 or 43,000 if we were lucky. Well, the numbers have come back where we think we can successfully hit the target of 45,000 for the certified deputies, and also address compression issues for those folks that are more senior certified deputies in the sergeant ranks, and to accomplish that with what would be an annual cost of just over $35,000. Since we're already into the fiscal year, our cost to get us through to June 30 is only about $27,000. We've had a couple of sessions with Vice Chairman Craddock, who has been our liaison with the Public Safety Committee, and he too has been twisting my arm, and I don't even have to talk about the encouragement I get from the sheriff, from the chairman, because she chews me on me every morning about my to-do list and how far I'm getting. Well, we believe we have a workable solution to move us toward the market rate within northeastern North Carolina, that if the board were to approve this recommendation, we could make this effective with the next payroll in October, which begins October 11, and set the floor for the certified deputies at 45,000, and make adjustments for the compression for the longer-term deputies and sergeants within the ranks. And I bring this to you with full confidence that we can make it work. It's not near enough, and as I explained to the sheriff when I met with him several weeks ago, I wish I could get him a number that started with a 5, but I got him one that has a 5 in it. It's a 4 and a 5. I wish I could flip that and make it a 54, but I just couldn't quite get the torque to twist that thing. So I believe we can make this work. I believe we've tested all of our assumptions financially, and that is county administration's recommendation.
Discussion amongst the commissioners of any? Questions, clarification, comment?
Yes, I have a comment. I most definitely agree. Retention is an issue across the entire state, especially Eastern North Carolina. And when our neighboring counties are offering a good compensation package, I think we should offer our own likewise. If not, we'll not be able to retain our great sheriff department that we have here. So I believe in retention. I believe in doing what's necessary within our means to meet the needs of our Gates County Sheriff Department.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Craddock?
echo off with what Mr. Rancher just said, within our means. We're doing this within our budget that we passed, and it's hard to do. William dug hard. He scratched everything he could find, and it's within our budget. It's not going into our general fund. It is within our budget that we set for last year, or this year. I'm all for it. Like I said, I wish we could do a lot more, but with what we set our tax rate at this year, this is what we have to work with. I hope it will help with retention. I believe it will. It's the next step. We've done a little bit each year. 3 years ago, I think the starting salary was 29, was around 29, is that right, Sheriff? Yeah, it was less than 30 when I was appointed. So we've gotten it up from 29 to 45 in 3 years. And hopefully we can do some more in the future, you know. But I will definitely recommend this to the board as well for the Sheriff's Department.
At your seat, you have a spreadsheet that's been provided of the Sheriff's Department with the vacancies and salaries and things of that nature. Are there any more comments or questions before I ask for a motion? Action required. A motion from the board to approve or not approve the proposed increase in certified deputy minimum salary to $45,000. Requisite adjustments to address salary compression for existing staff.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, everybody's second. It's been properly moved and second that we approve the certified deputy minimum salary to $45,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. You're welcome. Item B is budget amendments. County Manager, Mr. Sowell, will present the budget amendments.
Yes, ma'am, we have several for the board to consider. Number one is Budget Amendment F24026. Total amount is $458,119. These are state lottery funds that have to be approved by the board and worked through the county finance office. These funds touch a number of schools. First one up is smart panel modernization for the high school, for the middle school, for Gatesville Elementary, for Buckland Elementary, for Central, and that's $355,691. The second amount is $22,428 with replacement smart boards for both T.S. Cooper and Buckland Elementary Schools. The next item is an $80,000 upgrade for security systems for both the high school and Central Middle School. Again, the total is $458,119. The next item is F25-006. We mentioned this last month. This is in the Soil and Water Conservation District. It's a 100% grant-funded stream cleanup grant for Bennett's Creek. It's $150,000. This grant was prepared by Mr. Matt Lowe, and we look forward to him beginning to work on that. Item next, again, we touched on this last month, is a budget revision F25.007 in the amount of $225,000. Again, no local match. This is through our emergency management office. This was prepared by Mr. William Tutwiler. These funds will be used to enhance our emergency shelter capacity at the community center. Specifically, in the gymnasium, there's no air conditioning or ability to control the elements during extreme temperatures. So this will get us an air conditioning system and several other electrical items to help over there. And most importantly, an auxiliary power system. So we'll have a generator installed. So that's $225,000. And this was also, by the way, part of the state biennium budget. It was part of the SL 134 money as well. With that budget amendment, there's a budget amendment, there's a project ordinance, and a memorandum of agreement that the county must enter into. Our performance period is from September of '24 to December 31st of '25. So with the adoption of that budget amendment, we will need to consider that approval for both the project ordinance and the memorandum of agreement. And I think you could handle those in one motion if the board is so inclined.
You have any questions or clarification of Mr. Sauer? Hearing none. I need a motion from the board, consideration to approve items A, item B, item C, and item D.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve these items. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Item C, Public Utilities Department, consider approval of write-off for delinquent accounts which have exceeded the statute of limitations for collections in the amount of $289,561.60. Presented by Mr. Sauer and staff.
And again, we covered some of these last month and in the work session on the 21st. The breakdown of the $289,561.60 is $117,346 from water penalties of $2,511.51, landfill fees of $155,418, and landfill interest penalties of $14,284. All of these accounts are accounts which exceed 4 years, which is the statute of limitations, and we're trying to get these off our books before the auditors come to work for the fiscal year 23-24.
Questions or comments from Mr. Sauer? Hearing none, action requested, a motion from the board, consideration to approve the write-off for delinquent accounts which have exceeded the statute of limitations for collection in the amount of $289,561.60.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Approved. Item D, North Carolina DEQ revised funding for Gates County wastewater system AIA study to fully fund the county's initial application request, increasing from $167,000 to $250,000, and requisite project adjustments to include. Mr. Sauer?
Roughly 6 months ago, the county received a letter of intent to fund our wastewater system asset inventory project. The county had requested $250,000. The state was only able at that point in time to make available $167,000. They have taken another look at our application and have offered, in this case, a 100% grant for $250,000. Earlier, we had a local match that we were required to make, so they have asked that we adopt a revised and replacement resolution, and this will come with funds from ARPA and also a new category for us. This is the Vulnerable Utilities Reserve. So the resolution that we are proposing for your adoption will replace the resolution authorizing acceptances from a few months back. Additionally, there is a revised project ordinance, 24001, that also reflects that there is another source of fund, and that is the Vulnerable Utility Reserve. The amount of grant funds that are available is $250,000. There is a 1.5% grant fee of $3,495. That will come from the Public Utilities fund balance.
Any questions for the county manager? Okay. Looking for a motion to approve the replacement resolution to accept revised funding for Gates County wastewater system AIA study, project number AIA-WARP 0287 and AIA-WVUR 0030 in the amount of $250,000 with no local match required.
So moved. Okay, second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Also, approval of revised project ordinance 24001 wastewater system AIA study, project numbers AIA WARP 0287 and AIA WBUR 0030. Action required, a motion by the board, consideration approval.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. C, approval, Mr. County Manager, could you talk to your recommendation to approve the amended revised short form contracts with Green Engineering as follows: Gates County wastewater system AIA study and project numbers AIA WARP 0289 and AIA WBER 0300.
The first contract with Green Engineering is to raise the project level to $250,000 to match the grant that is now available. Originally, the contract was for $167,000. The strategy we had without getting full funding was to add to our wastewater treatment restoration project the subsurface evaluation and land application management plan for the plant that we obtained from the state years ago. With the funding that has come through, we're able to restore the original project to 250, no local match, and do all the work on the first contract. On the second contract, this is a contract reduction. We're cutting $75,000 out of the contract that was previously approved, that was $472,941. The new contract is $397,941, and we have eliminated that specific work component, the land application, surface and subsurface evaluation, and land application management plan study. So we're moving that work from one to another, so it's no additional funds. We're adding to one with the grant money and pulling out with the other. Now, the engineering contract is being cut $75,000. What that gains Brad over at Public Utilities, that frees up $75,000 within his project ordinance that can be used, one as a contingency, because we haven't bid any of this work yet. We don't know how close our estimates are to the market, or there may be other components that he wants to address. So these are our two short form contracts, and I think you could adopt them individually or jointly, however the board pleases.
Okay, I think the preference is to do them separately. That way,
Okay.
when they go off to Raleigh, wherever they're going, they have clarity in them. So the action required on the first one, the motion by the board, consideration to approve the revised short form contract with Green Engineering in the amount of $250,000 based on the revised letter of intent to fund.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor? Aye. The second, a motion by the board, consideration to approve or not approve a new contract with Green Engineering with the deletion of the land application surface and subsurface evaluation and management plan study and requisite project adjustment to decrease the contract amount by $75,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have the county manager report and update. That's on your desk.
There is a small handout on your desk. A couple of the items are informational, one of which we covered with the joint meeting with the town council. For the audience's benefit, the town council and the county have been working jointly to proceed toward removal of a hazardous structure, the burned-out house right around the corner, 217 Main Street. We took bids back in August. The apparent low bidder, Sunbury Rural Developer, upon further review, decided to withdraw their bid. That bid was $23,000. The bid was rescinded in writing on August 29th. The second lowest bidder is T&T Services, Brad Roundtree, $26,700. And based on the discussions with the board and the town council, we are proceeding with Mr. Roundtree. He's working through all of the permits. I think I've heard he lacks just the asbestos permit for that project. And our goal is to have it cleaned up for Halloween, so the trick-or-treaters don't have to look at that mess.
Okay.
Item 2 is written confirmation of the state grant from the 911 board to the Perquimans Gates 911 Communications Center, where we are now consolidated with our neighbor. They are making plans to expand the footprint, increase the office space, and give everybody just a little bit more elbow room. That grant is $4,831,481. And the county manager, Frank Heath, tells me that works out to $1,000 per square foot. Wow. You know, cost of everything is going up. But again, that is just information, and we're thankful to the 911 board and Ms. Pokey Harris, who's their executive director. Item next is an action item. The board has received a couple of reports about the fact that we've been in the process of renewing the lease with the federal government, Department of Agriculture, for the USDA building. It's at 104 New Ferry Road. That building was constructed by the county to host those agencies. It's USDA, Farm Service Agency, Soil and Water. They've been in there since about 01 or 02. The annual rent that has been paid to Gates County since the very beginning has been $25,304. That works out to $8 a square foot, if you're familiar with the commercial leasing process. The rent that has been negotiated throughout a very involved and arduous process, thanks to Mr. William Robertson, the annual rent will just about double to $51,981, and that's just over $16 a square foot, and based on our review of regional markets, especially in Elizabeth City, we think $16 is a fair rate. Plus, in this new lease agreement, the federal government is going to pay our operating costs for the facility. This is a new component of the lease. That's calculated at $42,320. So the annual rent will now be $94,301 as opposed to the $25,304. The county has gone through a number of lease renewals over the years, and digging through the files, it was kind of fun to identify some of my predecessors there, and I've got them named going all the way back to Tim Wilson that I knew back in the day, who was here in 06 when that one was adopted. So I would like to ask for the board's consideration of lease number 57-37037-23-FA between the United States of America, Department of Agriculture, and the County of Gates for the USDA Service Center in Gatesville, North Carolina. This is a 10-year lease. The other piece that the federal government has agreed to is to pay for all of the tenant improvements that they are requiring. They're asking for additional security. They want to change some of the cabinetry. And lo and behold, they'd also like to have a electric vehicle charging station. And there's a copy of that in your packet. The charging station by itself is just a little bit over $19,000, and we had to use the specs that were provided by the Department of Agriculture. And again, the folks in Washington, D.C. have been great, and the one in Raleigh, we have had them come to Gates County and spend hours with us going through a notebook about that thick of all of their specifications. So they have approved the rates and lump sum tenant additions, so they are ready to go. $94,301 is the annual rate for 10 years. $121,836.74 is the lump sum that they will pay once we complete all of the improvements, including the charging station.
You need you need approval.
Yes.
Recommend approval for lease number 57-37-37-23FA between the United States Department of Agriculture and the County of Gates for the USDA Service Center in Gatesville, North Carolina.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second that we approve this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Last item. In May of 2023, when Brad Arnold brought to the board a fairly frugal capital improvement plan, the county went through a procurement process for the selection of engineering services. It's called the Request for Qualifications. Interested firms are to present statements of qualifications and experience and work history. And last year, we advertised in May. The board actually made its decision in August of '23. We had 3 firms that had looked at us then, and Green Engineering was the selected firm and brought to the board for affirmative vote, which you did. Then a fellow named Bill Ward came to town with this big check and stood right here in front of the commissioners and explained we had $10 million to work with. So we've had to adjust our capital improvement plan with priorities that have been adopted by the board, and we've had to expand the breadth of our request for engineering services, which we did this summer. And we only have one firm that submitted, and we are here to recommend approval for the selection of Green Engineering of Wilson, North Carolina, based on their statement of qualifications, project experience, and the firm's reputation, to cover our new capital improvement plan and any other adjustments that the board may make for us here. So if we could have a motion, I'd sure appreciate it.
One of the things I'd like to add to what you just shared with the public and the board, when we were designated a distress unit for our wastewater and water, one of the qualifications for funding or rehab was a capital improvement plan. We didn't have one. Gates County did not have a capital improvement plan. Gates County didn't have a plan to do anything. I'm just putting it out there. So that was a big lift for the Board of Commissioners to go out and find the subject matter expert, an engineering firm with water and wastewater to get that capital improvement project in line. The first time we tried, it did not work. We made mistakes, but we quickly corrected it, and now we have a 10-year plan. So what Mr. Sauer is saying, that since we received the funding from Mr. Ward and Mr. Hannett, we have to go back and tweak it because now we have more money and we have more projects. And so that's a good thing. But I just want people to understand that we needed an engineering firm to get this off the ground. We did not have people in-house, hardly anybody does, that know how to write those grants and get those points and get this thing so that we can stay in line and not waste time and money on things we don't understand. I just want to put it out there. And I thank Green Engineering for what they have done in the past, and now we're going to see if we're going to continue to let you work for us. So I'm requesting for qualification, recommend approval for selection of Green Engineering of Wilson, North Carolina, based on its statement of qualifications, project experience, and firm's reputation.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second that we retain Green Engineering of Wilson, North Carolina. All in favor? Aye. Approved.
That was all I had.
So let's move on to commissioner updates. Commissioner Roundtree.
Yes, good evening, Gates County citizens. My DSS update. DSS Community Baby Shower will be at the Gates County Community Center on November the 1st. It will be from 11 a.m. to 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This event is for expectant mothers and parents of children under the age of 2 years old. Please RSVP by October the 15th at the email gatesdss@gatescountync.gov, or you can call 252-357-0075. And also, donations are accepted. Trillium update. Trillium will be offering a Supporting Children Early Simulation on Thursday, October the 3rd, 2024, from 8:30 a.m. until 12 noon. The location will be at the College of the Albemarle, COA, Foreman Technology Building, and the address is 1208 North Road Street, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, 27909. You can register today for this free event. You can register at the email address bit.ly/3 uppercase W, uppercase P, lowercase e, uppercase R, lowercase b, uppercase C, to secure your spot for this event. The simulation depicts challenging life situations faced by children and families with disabilities. The simulation offers insight, support, potential resolution, and empathy for families experiencing lifelong barriers. And final, for my last update, community update, I want to thank Chef Ray Campbell, the Gates County Sheriff Department, local agencies, and citizens who made contributions in the form of playground equipment and security cameras to Totally Kids Learning Center, LLC, and Director LaShonda Harrison. This was all initiated by Chef Campbell. Chef Campbell had a great collaboration with the community. It was a great community service project, and I tip my hat to Chef Campbell and the Gates County Sheriff Department. This concludes my updates.
Commissioner Craddock.
First of all, I'd like to thank our visitors that came to see us tonight, Bill Ward and Ms. Ward and Mr. Hannick. We appreciate everything y'all fight for us, because that's what you do, you fight for us. It comes from the bottom of our heart. Thank you for everything you do for us, and everything you're going to do for us. A lot of the stuff, the CIP you were talking about, I don't know if it would ever happen if it weren't for y'all. So, thank you. Thank you very much. And we're going to be asking for more. Public Health and Safety Committee, I'll send out an email, hopefully the end of this week, first of next week, schedule another date. Congratulations to Jonathan Nixon and Perquimans, Gates County, E911, $4,831,000. Let me read this. Too many numbers for me. $4,831,481. I hated to see our 911 go, but look what we can do together. Two counties working together. Neither one of the counties will ever got that much by themselves. So, Ms. Pokey Harris did say, when we had at one of our meetings, the sheriff was with us. I rode over there with the sheriff. And she said, y'all married together, you can get just about what you asked for. We asked for it, we got it. CIP, they got up and left. I think our original CIP for water and wastewater, I want to say over a 20-year plan maybe, was around $19 million. And I was talking to Mr. William and Mr. Sauer, was it last week or earlier this week? I can't remember, all my days run together. But I think we brought in just for water and wastewater and grants and state allocations 16.6, is that correct, William? Somewhere around, yeah, somewhere around that. So it's a lot of money, a lot of burden off the taxpayers. Couldn't have done it without Mr. Sauer, Mr. Ward, this board. It's something to be proud of. And I am I'm going back through my notes and everything of all the grants that have came in the last 18 months and trying to get a total on them. Then I'm going to drop back to 3 years and include the broadband grants and everything. There's been a lot of money that came into this county in the last 3 years that has freed up money to where we can give raises to the sheriff's department. We can get our other departments where they need to be. So all of this grant money and very, very, very little matching dollars, it frees up money. It frees up money so we can spend our money that we bring in through the good old tax department over there to benefit our local stuff. So, just thank y'all for all the work y'all been doing, and we've got traction. We've spun wheels for a long time. We've got traction. We're getting ready to take off. I told Dr. Riddick the other night we're getting ready to take flight. So thank y'all for coming out tonight, and thank y'all for everything y'all do.
I'm going to call on Commissioner Truman because I forgot her the last time. I ain't forget. So No. So I'm going to get you now before I forget again.
Maybe she'll forget me.
Okay. First, I want to thank the Extension Office earlier for their presentation, their dinner that they supplied us. Always good to hear from them, to see what's happening with the kids in the community. I know Kelly Boone was sharing some of the things that she does, K through 12, were just phenomenal to have those opportunities. And to see the pictures of, kids, we're a small community, you recognize them all up there on those little slideshow pictures, so that was neat. Dr. Riddick contacted me after our last meeting due to a scheduling conflict to see if I could go to a presentation at the Food Bank of the Albemarle in her place, and I was so thankful for that. It was very educational, and their facility is phenomenal. Learning about the food insecurity in the general area and seeing what they offer, knowing that we have the distribution here in the county once a month with gyms, and then there's a senior distribution, but seeing what they are able to offer on a day-to-day basis with open doors and coming in as needed and not having to wait month to month was really encouraging and super enlightening. So I just look forward to hopefully seeing that program grow. My daughter has been volunteering with my mother-in-law for a while, and she has loved it. I've learned a lot. Not something I've been involved in before. I know Ms. Hoffler has, so I've been thankful for that education. Going on to the water and the fluoride, that I know I've had several people reach out to me in the past few days that were concerned. It's been a concern for my family for years. I will put that out there. We have taken steps in our home for years to remove fluoride from our water. The new report is concerning, but I'm looking forward to the numbers from Brad that come in from the latest report. Hopefully shutting down that well has had a tremendous impact on that number. Couple other things, the opioid task force, we are moving forward with that. I've been working kind of closely with Chief Butts from Gates County Rescue, trying to move forward with some concepts that we have, seeing what we can do, in which direction we can go to kind of get some of those funds moving in the county in a way that's going to best benefit Gates County. We have some ideas, and we've been working with Mr. Perry and our HR trying to see how we can bring those into fruition. Did want to mention, touch on Trillium. I'm going to cut into your Trillium, Commissioner Roundtree, but Monarch is a mobile unit that they have come into Gates County. They go to the 6 counties that they serve, but they will be in Gates County on September 23rd. It is a mobile unit where you can have some connections to care for anxiety, depression, substance use disorder. You can go to monarchnc.org and get yourself an appointment. That is a service that we have in county. We don't have inpatient or outpatient care facilities in Gates County for those. We have to outsource to other communities, but this is a source that comes to us, and they're here monthly. So if you go to monarchnc.org and are interested in talking to someone, they can see you in-house at the mobile unit. They can do telehealth, which we mentioned earlier. Telehealth is becoming a bigger thing. But if you are struggling with anxiety, depression, substance use disorder, that is a resource that we have available. And then this coming Saturday at Easton's Crossroads Ballpark from 9 until I believe 4, we have the Fall Festival. It's been pretty big. I know the past couple of years have been fun. Lots of vendors, lots of fun things for the kids. So if you are free on Saturday, weather looks like we're finally gonna maybe not have a rainy day. You can go out to the ballpark and support our local community group that's trying to bring some activities to our county. I think that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Harper?
Well, everybody said everything, I think. But anyway, I would like to thank our legislative delegation for coming tonight. It means so much to a county like Gates, and know that we have this problem with the water. I thank you, Senator Haney. He's already gone. Representative Ward, thank you and your wife for coming. We appreciate all the help you have given us in the past. Thank you for being here and standing with us with our concerns about our water. And we know we can count on you to assist us in Raleigh. We also thank the extension. They are doing some marvelous work in the county with our youth programs that they have in all the schools. It is unbelievable what they're doing, and certainly will make us a better society for what they're learning. Also, a couple of things that I would like to mention. The Albemarle Commission was notified, or we were notified today, that they had received an urgent repair grant of $264,000. Now, of course, we do not get $264,000, but we will be part of the counties that will receive some help for urgent repairs. And what's good about the Albemarle Commission, they have a team that can come in and do the repairs. And that's sometimes hard to get people to come to do small repairs, like putting in door steps, putting in ramps, putting in things that will make the home safer for people to live in. And so we are very appreciative of that as well. And tomorrow night we have our meeting with the Albemarle Commission, so I'm sure I'll get more details. PCG is our convenience sites. If those of you are familiar with that entity, you know that we have a transfer station in, I would guess, called Belvedere. It was really Hickory Cross, but it's Belvedere. We are looking at extensive repairs to our transfer station deck, where the trucks are, they have to pull the trailers up to dump them. That we've got to make some big decisions about that because we are inspected all the time by the state. And so that is, we're going to have some work done there. Rebar is showing, and we've got to get that corrected. So we will learn more about that. I think we have a meeting about that. Is it next week, I believe? So a lot of things coming up concerning that. And I just want to thank everyone for all the work they do. Our staff, we have a good staff. They work hard. Certainly, that is a blessing to each one of us as citizens. We have a very hard-working board. They do what they're supposed to do and come to the table prepared. And I enjoy working with them. So thank you. Have a good weekend. Or get good. It's not exactly a weekend, but anyway, we could start the weekend on Thursday.
My short updates. I received a letter from Greg Gebhardt, the Executive Director of Veteran Iraq War, and it reads, "I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing to express my heartfelt gratitude for your efforts in Gates County to support our veterans and their families. The dedication of you and your fellow board members to this cause is appreciated and has undoubtedly improved the lives of countless veterans who have served our country with honor. I recently returned from Cherokee, where I attended the fall meeting of the North Carolina Association of County Veteran Service Officers. At that meeting, I had the opportunity to interact with many of these individuals, including Chad Stevens from Gates County. You are blessed in Gates County to have Chad and his colleagues working for you and your veterans. Your veteran service officers will not be able to do what they do without the support of the board. So thank you for allowing them the time and providing the resources for them to attend the conference. The allocation of resources from Gates County is a testament to your commitment to the well-being of our veterans and their families." And I read this because we sometimes forget the people behind the scenes. We have not seen Chad present, so I'm asking the county manager, I talked to him about this, he received a letter and I received one, to invite Chad Stevens to attend the board meeting if he can next month, October, because Veterans Day is November. And we will be talking with him to give us a comprehensive report on his efforts to help over 800 veterans in this county, counting their families, their family spouses. And sometimes they're invisible. We don't give them much recognition, but Chad does a good job, but he needs to be congratulated for what he does on the budget that we have given him. So I'm asking to put him on the agenda if he can next month, Mr. County Manager, so he can come and do a comprehensive report. I also want to piggyback on what Ms. Hoffler said about the urgent repair grant. Last year, we attracted $100,000 in grant money and repaired 25 homes. Everything from roofs to floors to handicap ramps to septic tanks. I mean, that's what we do on the Housing Committee. This year, we have asked for more grant money, especially from Roanoke Foundation. They granted us $50,000 last year, so we're going to try to get more next year. We already know the Albemarle Commission has received their allotment for their 10 counties or their 8 counties because we're in the COG. So I'm waiting to hear from Mr. Albertson, who works with us in allocating those funds. They also have a $2.3 million weatherization grant for the COG or Albemarle Commission. That's over 3 years. So I've talked to Michael Irvin about that. He's the director. And we're going to try to get our fair share of that grant money. So we are grant focused. Anytime we can get a grant, which is our money anyway, and don't have to pay a match, that's what we do first. So I just wanted to make those announcements. And those are my updates and updates from the committee and from the staff. You said I forgot something. My vice chair is reminding me of something.
We voted to come out of,
Okay.
but we didn't vote on the action.
Which one is it?
This, C.
Okay, on C, let's go back to public hearings, item C, planning and zoning. We voted to come out of public hearing, but we did not vote to approve that planning text amendment, the subdivision.
I made the motion,
Truman.
Truman seconded, we just never voted.
Craddock made the motion, Commissioner Truman seconded. Now, I need approval of that vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. See, that's why you have a vice chair. He's my right hand, my left hand, whatever. Okay. Now we will go into closed session. I need a motion to go into closed session. Concurrent to North Carolina General Statute 143.318.11A3, legal and personnel.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we'll go in closed session. And during this closed session, we will meet with the county attorney and just the board of commissioners. And there will be no action taken after we come back, open and close. You're in closed session.
Yes, sir.
It's not
We've
bad.
been here a long time.
It's not bad. It's not bad, 2 hours and a half.
No, but it seems like we've been here a long time.
We
We've
have.
been here at 4:30.
I need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I get good at this. I can go.
Thanks for everything tonight.
Pete, I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope your recuperation continues and gets stronger.